6:04 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing. Starting you off at 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Got a busy Friday show for you this morning. No, we're not done talking about Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about the political climate overall. No, we're not fixating on that today because we got football to talk about for tomorrow. Yes, we are going to check in with Mayor President Sid Edwards. Pick his brain a little bit about Thrive EBR. And Louisiana is, quote unquote, on the move. The work our legislature has been doing is starting to register with folks who aren't from this state. One of those folks is Jonathan Williams. He's the co-author of the book Rich States, Poor States. He's going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour to talk about what he's seeing. So we got a full slate for you. We are ready to roll. A little Foodie Friday mixed in as well. I'm 90% sure Foodie Friday is ready to roll as well. So let's get to it. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
The chief financial officer for Breck is resigning from his position at the City Parish Parks and Recreations Department. A letter written to the interim superintendent says. Don Johnson said his last day as CFO will be September 19th. He assumed the role back in April of 2024. His successor has not yet been named.
Number 4.
3 people were arrested in connection with the theft of an Abraham Lincoln statue from Homa's House Estates and Gardens, detectives said Thursday. We talked about this at Crime Stoppers. The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office said the burglary occurred late at night on Saturday, September 6th. Detectives found a broken window where suspects forced entry and stole a 64-pound statue of Abraham Lincoln made of solid silver. The statue's value is an estimated the statue's value was $166,000. Apparently, the 3 accused of stealing it chopped it into pieces and tried to hawk all the pieces at a gold and silver shop in Metairie.
Number 3.
Federal investigators are involved after several members of the Louisiana legislature received postcards depicting a lynching. The mail said it was coming from Christy Nome at the Department of Homeland Security, but the post office didn't come close to matching that. State Rep Mike Bayham from St. Bernard Parish is one of the legislators who received the postcard of the lynching or the picture of the lynching. We need to get him on early next week to get his recounting of what happened and, well, honestly see what he can tell us because there's an open investigation based off of this.
Number 2.
By the way, speaking of investigations, the FBI is investigating threats sent to students at Southern University and other HBCUs yesterday. Southern placed its campus on lockdown Thursday after receiving a potential threat to campus security, canceling classes and campus activities through the weekend, even after the lockdown was lifted. The physical lockdown itself was from 11 a.m. till about 12:45 p.m.
Number 1.
Well, we got another blip on the radar here when it comes to hurricane season, and it is increasing in its probability of becoming a hurricane. Showed up first yesterday, a tropical wave located near the west coast of Africa, producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the far eastern Atlantic. Environmental conditions, here we go, appear conducive for some gradual development of the system over the next several days. As it stands right now, it's got forever before it would even get here if it were headed this way. 40% chance of becoming a named storm. I bring it up right now because it escalated from 30% to 40% from yesterday to today. What you got there, JP?
Well, Brian, more evidence is out, including pictures of the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk.
Are we reacting like way too quickly and expecting this guy to have been arrested already? I
May be the case.
I started asking myself that last night. I'm like, we expect this buttoned-up justice, this, like, when you have a mass shooter takes his own life, it's over with, right?
That's right.
You know what, like, it's front to back. It's all, you got a nice little bow put on the whole situation. But it took a little while to get the guy who assassinated the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson.
That's right.
Remember when he was assassinated, that dude was on the run for more than a day. All right, so I know we expect this to be bang, 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 like as soon as it's humanly possible, and it will be, but how are we defining humanly possible?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is, we're so used to that, right? We're so used to instantaneous gratification, whether that comes from the entertainment we consume or the closing of cases of, assassinations.
The screen
But-
doesn't go black and it doesn't
Yeah.
say executive producer Dick Wolf.
That's right.
That's not reality.
That's right.
Reality is they have to do some detective work, and
It's complicated.
yeah. What I hate though is in this quote unquote information age when you have a certain level of vacuum of information, because they can't put everything out there,
Right.
and they wouldn't put his picture out there if they didn't think it would help.
Mm.
Like we wouldn't even have that if the FBI didn't think it would help, right?
Yep, that's right.
So where you have a vacuum of information, they've got hundreds upon hundreds of leads that they're following right now. We have to know that and trust that but like when you have a vacuum of information, it opens up conspiracy theories.
That's right.
And the number of people who are already posting, like, this is a professional hit to get you, stop.
Yeah. I had a
Just-
talk right before the show about that. Now conspiracy
Oh, are
theories.
you? Mm,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, where conspiracy theories just kind of, this is,
about it being a professional hit?
it could have been, But I think as time goes on, I think our minds just kind of go there. I don't know. It's
Well,
just-
so there's a lot to debunk conspiracy theories already. If it were a
Yeah.
professional marksman,
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, and I don't know all the logistics of it,
Yeah.
but Charlie Kirk was wearing some sort of bulletproof chest plate. Okay, so the bullet nicked off the end and ricocheted into his neck. The guy wasn't shooting for his neck; it nicked off the end. So if you're looking to shoot center mass,
Yeah.
then number one, you don't know that he's wearing a chest plate, and number two, he. For the rest of the world, unfortunately, he got lucky, but for the rest of the world, it's unlucky. I mean, this tragedy is because the guy missed center mass and hit the edge of the chest plate, hit the edge of the bulletproof plate. So
yeah.
it wasn't as professional as it looked.
Yeah. And as time goes on, that's just where people's minds go,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I know.
When speaking of Charlie Kirk, of course, vigils are being held all over the country for him. Locally, that's no exception because there will be one tonight at LSU.
I'm going. I think I'm going. Okay. Let's just ask the question right here. And our chat's open over on Facebook Live. We're on Facebook Live every day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Let's ask the question. Would you have a hesitancy going to a vigil at a time like this? Is there any fear of further escalation of violence? Charlie Kirk was the head of Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk was the head of a major movement. And the time from his shooting until today, the messaging has been, you may have silenced him, but you've made his movement even louder. Wouldn't that be motivation for a violent opposition to want to continue the violence? Would you have hesitancy going to a vigil? And I know it says a vigil's peaceful. A vigil is, it's reflective. It's not. There's no uprising here. It's a vigil. Okay, I understand that, but Charlie Kirk wasn't a violent person. Charlie Kirk was open to conversation and civil discourse. So holler at us over on Facebook Live. Would you have any hesitancy at all attending any sort of, and I don't want to call this vigil a political event, but it's hard to separate completely the two. Any event surrounding politics, right?
It is.
So let us know.
In other news, the U.S. Naval Academy was on lockdown yesterday when a midshipman who had been kicked out returned with a weapon. Man.
So you get the Kirk assassination at the same time as a shooting in a Colorado school. You got bomb threats over at Southern. You got a lockdown over at the U.S. Naval Academy. Like, every so often, does everybody lose it all at once? Is that what we're looking at right now?
It seems that way.
Is there a way to
Just-
calm things back down?
There's a way. But
We're running long here, and we've got a lot of ground to get to. Tell you what, let me remind you about the folks over at Vex European. If you drive a European vehicle, if you drive a Mercedes, a BMW, if you drive a Jaguar, a couple months ago here in Baton Rouge, the Jaguar dealership shut down. So if you drive a Jaguar and you normally took your car into the dealership, well, from then till now, you've probably been doing just fine. If you're finding something's wrong, as the seasons are about to change, It might be time for an oil change. It might be time for just things to get looked at, whatever the case might be. You are not without help. Vex European is here for you. They're on Benefit Drive in the backside of Industrialplex. I would start at vexeuropean.com. V is in Vinny, vexeuropean.com. Start there. Make your appointment right there online. Vinny and his team take fantastic care of all of their clientele. I drive an 18-year-old car. My car is old enough to vote, and she hums like she's brand new because of Vinny and his team at Vex European. So you'll get a master-level technician for your make of vehicle. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. Quick break, come back. Let's talk Saints, and then we'll talk LSU after that. Can you write down the cuts again? Thanks. Speaking of dialing down the political rhetoric, how about Moon Griffon? Boy, Rouse's has a big ad on the top of the Advocate page, huh? $12 packs of LaCroix are 2 for $8. That's $4 a piece. That's not a sale. 2 for $8 for LaCroix packs. Well, I guess normally I get an 8-pack, not a 12-pack. So maybe it's a good deal. I don't know. I'll stick with Matherns, thank you. But I got the blackberries or the raspberries. It's a huge-ass ad, dude. Yes. More cuts first, please. Keep it plumbing, Robbie. Wonder Bread. Buy one, get one. Well, y'all Looney Tunes, y'all here to destroy America. You're going to destroy America. Why wouldn't someone respond violently? Oh, shit. Yeah. Right. 618, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got to move fast here. I want to start with the Saints are playing on Sunday. They've got the 49ers, and it really, really looks like the Saints have a chance to win this game, not because the Saints are good, but because the 49ers are hurt. Kittle, their tight end, is on injured. I blanked on his first name. Is on injured reserve. Quarterback Brock Purdy likely not going to play. San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. You got McCaffrey on there, JP? Talks about what the offense is going to look like for San Fran without Purdy.
I think everybody's just got to do their job. It's and that's whether Brock's playing or not. It just comes down to everybody executing at a high level and, keeping it that simple, not trying to do anything extremely special. But Just have to have really good execution at all times, but that's pretty much consistent every week.
Conversely, where I don't have time, do I? No, I don't. Okay, I tell you what. Let's go ahead, push pause. We'll pick this back up on the back end. We got to meet up with the Fox Business Report. I'll have traffic for you, and then we'll continue next. We did. It was that mini rant on being safe at public events. But I needed to get that out there because it's a great conversation to have.
Yeah, it's true.
And my wife put that one in my head last night.
And I don't know what's up with my algorithm, but I'm seeing more people celebrate than mourn Charlie Kirk's loss.
Yeah.
What is I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I in? Because this is just so
I know.
disheartening and so damn discouraging. Like, how the hell did I get on this side of the algorithm? Freaking pathetic, man.
Galen added to the conversation really, really well. So much for Facebook monitoring and controlling hate speech. Yup.
Yeah. But it was like the point you were trying to make with Haggai is that we play a song that hits Facebook that afternoon. We're done, we're flagged,
Right.
It's just you can't do the same. There's
Right.
no
if
way.
Facebook can recognize the
There's
voices
no
of the
way.
Shirelles, they
Yeah.
can recognize the sound of a 30-06.
Yeah. There's no way. There's no way it can.
Shoot, I wish I had that line yesterday. That would have been a good line yesterday. Oh, by the way, Easy Lover's still in my head, but I've added 3 other songs to the mix now. So at least there's a rotation.
Oh,
and the
yes.
Shirelles, somehow the Shirelles are in the mix.
The Shirelles.
The Shirelles.
Why? Is that something you listen to on a daily basis?
No.
On a regular basis?
No, it just, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow just popped in my head. Won't go away.
Oh, man.
Don't know where it came from. Oh, crap. I got to do traffic. We're going to start you off on the interstates, as we do every time I'm doing traffic here. And boy, oh boy. Boy, howdy. Things are looking great, y'all. There are no delays, not even a lot of congestion, not even a lot of volume on the interstates to start things off. Whether you're talking 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish, where we normally have a lot of volume around Range Avenue and or O'Neill Lane. No, we're good. We're good. 10 westbound's always good at this time coming in from Ascension. 10 eastbound normally good coming in from West Baton Rouge. Both bridges wide open as well. Surface streets. Whoop, hang on. All right, well, we might have to change that for the next traffic report because we just had a stalled vehicle on I-10 westbound in between College and Acadian pop up on the board. So provided volume continues to rise, that might lead to some delays. But as of now, it's still smooth sailing. Surface streets, just like look out for an accident. Plank at Hooper. That's really all we've got going on from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Regular rotation. Regular rotation. This goes in the regular rotation. I want this one to pop up all whenever.
So this so good though.
I know.
It's not a bad song to have in your mind.
And that's
constantly.
just the normal version of it. Live from Berlin takes it up to another level.
Oh, there's a specific version.
Oh, yeah. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. See, the thing of it is, JP, like the folks on Facebook know what we're talking about but can't hear the music.
Yeah.
But the folks on air hear the music but don't know what we're talking about.
There you go.
All right, let me bring everybody up to speed.
For context.
That song's been stuck in my head for 4 months now.
That's
I
insane.
can't get rid of it.
Insane.
I can't shake it. Every time I try to shake it, all I think is, don't try to change it, just leave it. Can't get rid of it, man.
Love
Stuck
it.
there. All right, let's dive back in here. Saints 49ers coming up Sunday at noon. Let's go to Kellen Moore. While Brock Purdy's hurt, it's either Greg or George Kittle. I don't know why I'm brain farting on his name. I guess I can look it up. While the 49ers are dealing with injuries, Saints are getting healthier, hopefully healthier in a couple of spots. Specifically, is Chase Young coming back soon?
Just getting better each day. I think that's just the timeline of this thing. We'll take this thing one day at a time, and those are calves, muscles, those sorts of things. You just got to navigate it.
Paid a big price tag to get him on this roster. It was a prove-it year last year. He proved it. We ponied up, and now he's just got to sit. So if Brock Purdy is out for the 49ers, that means Mac Jones. We know that name from when he played at Alabama. What are his strengths?
His ability to process, he makes really good decisions. You go back to, certainly when you're evaluating him coming out of Alabama, his ability to just handle a volume of an offense, make really good decisions. He throws a really accurate ball. He's got tremendous timing. I think he's a really good quarterback in this league. And sometimes, some of these guys go to a couple different teams just, as their careers go. And he's still had plenty of success in this league. He's been, his rookie year, he's a Pro Bowler. And so he'll be a really talented quarterback out there still, no matter what the circumstances.
Well, no matter what, though, it's a drop-off from your starter, or else he would be a starter. If you're the Saints, though, your main concern right now has to be the number of penalties you had last week, and you had plenty. How have they addressed that situation?
Obviously, there's an emphasis. We got to have an action plan associated with it, and so we certainly talked a lot about it. We had officials out at practice today. We'll have them out tomorrow just to help us with the communication aspect there, and I thought that was really good, really valuable for our guys to get a lot of eyes on it and not miss any little detail that may come up, and so I thought that was beneficial for our guys. Kickoff
is noon on Sunday between the 49ers and the Saints. You'll hear that game right down the hall on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Talk LSU in just a quick second. In fact, let me give you the rundown real quick for the show. Jacob Hester, if LSU's played Florida, there is no better person in the world to talk to than Jacob Hester. He is on our sister station, 104.5 ESPN. Before he goes on air, he's going to join us in our next segment for a full preview. We'll have some comments from Brian Kelly here in just a second, but we'll talk with Jake coming up in just a little bit. Also on the show today, we'll get caught up with the folks from Lake Urgent Care. Ted James, former state representative, former mayoral candidate, Ted James, he hit me up the other night and said, we need to cool it with the political rhetoric. It's time for a little common sense to re-enter the equation. I said, how soon can you come on the show? He said, what's the first opening you have? I said, Friday, 7:05. So we're going to throw out top stories and trending next hour to talk to Ted James. I can't wait. Jonathan Williams is with the American Legislative Exchange Council. Louisiana is moving up the rankings based off of things that our legislature have done. I know it's easy at the end of a legislative session to look at the things that didn't get done, but we're netting results, and we're going to talk about that with Jonathan Williams at 7:15. 7:35, Mayor President Sid Edwards is going to be in with us. We're going to talk a little Thrive EBR. Might pick his brain about, it's the first time in a long time high school football season's here, and Coach isn't Coach. I mean, we still call him Coach. But that might be a part of the conversation. Try to make the mayor cry. Not really. I'm just kidding. All right, 8:00 hour. We're gonna have some fun, y'all. I want to talk RVing because when you get on campus tomorrow, you're gonna see a slew of RVs. You saw him last week. You'll see him again this week. Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. I want to talk about just a couple different parts of the conversation. Number one, how popular is it to rent an RV for a home game? My inclination is you rent an RV for an away game, right? But renting an RV for a home game, let's talk about it. We'll have Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV coming on to talk a little bit about tailgating, traveling, maybe open things up for the full fall season as well. And then we are 90% confirmed that Bullfish Grill is going to be on with us for Foodie Friday. Was waiting for that follow-up confirmation last night, so hopefully we'll be able to make that happen as well. We're at 6:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. Tell you what, I'm looking at these Brian Kelly cuts. All of these are questions I'm going to ask of Jacob Hester, and they're all questions that Brian Kelly answered on Monday. So I think Friday's information is much fresher. Let's just hold off on that right now. We'll talk LSU football in our next segment, giving me enough time to tell you about the folks at NeuroJust. Before we hit news, let me remind you, if you suffer from anxiety and depression, or a loved one does, you know what the battle looks like, okay? It's a constant fight or flight inside the mind. The way the mind processes situations, it's a constant fight or flight, and that is exhausting. There's never a time where it's like even seas within your mind. It's always 6 to 10 foot waves. What they do at NeuroJust is called transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS therapy. FDA approved, non-invasive, no side effects, tremendous results. Check them out online at neurojust.com. NEUROJUST.com. You need Hester's number. And I need to go get coffee. And good morning, Christine. BRB, y'all. And when the interview for 650 calls in, ask her to pronounce her last name. I'm 99% sure it's Fricke, not Frick. She's been on before. Yeah, Fricke. It's one of those ones where I know, but I doubt myself. And oh, by the way, What? Okay. Okay. 637 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to catch up with Jacob Hester in just a quick minute. He's supposed to call us right back as he's prepping for his own show as well. So Fridays they're live from, is it Rouse's, I believe? Yeah, Rouse's. So we'll let him get all set and then hop on the hotline with us. We'll squeeze out 5 minutes with, look, if you're going to talk LSU Florida, I mean, he's Mr. Fourth Down, right? There's nobody better to talk to. He donned the number 18 and just smashed through on fourth downs. That's what he does. So LSU Florida coming up tomorrow. We'll get to that in just a second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. 5 Star Printing and Signs, 271-4096 is the phone number, 271-4096. They bring you this day in history every day, and they are here for you when it comes to upgrading your business's image. Take a look around your office. What needs that little What needs an extra boost? What needs an extra kick? What needs a refresh? This is what Danny and his team do over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. Making sure that when you hand a business card to somebody, you're putting your best foot forward. Making sure that when you share what it is that you do and you hand somebody like a little 3-fold brochure or a full-on one sheet, it's putting your best foot forward. There's a little pop to it. There's something eye-catching, something memorable about it. And oh, this is so important, and it's done right. And it's done right. They put pride in that. And oh, by the way, when you go with one of the bigger national names or whatever, if it's not done right, there's no way to correct it. With Danny, you just call 271-4096. Boom, fixed. Printshop5.com is the website, printshop5.com, but I would recommend just calling. Ask you to speak with Danny, or actually any member of his team could take care of you at 271-4096 for 5 Star Printing and Signs. Should have Jake back on here in a minute. I'm hoping. Relying on him here. In the meanwhile, though, I want to dive back into the conversation that I tossed out there for Facebook Live because it's an important conversation to have. One of the parts of the conversation is as you look at the level of political rhetoric, the level of political violence that we have right now, are you comfortable attending events? A vigil is not a political event, but it is a vigil for a very outspoken political person. From the moment Charlie Kirk passed to this moment right now, the sentiment on the right has been resounding. You may have killed a man, but you've amplified his voice. His voice will get louder. His movement will get louder. Turning Point USA, all of this will continue to grow. So wouldn't that be motivation for further violence for those who are disturbed enough to turn to violence, right? So I asked that over on Facebook Live, and I didn't see the conversation head in this direction, but JP brought it up, and Galen brought it up on Facebook, okay? Galen says, I do not consider myself to be naive, but the level of evil thoughts and rhetoric regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination on Facebook are shocking. So much for Facebook monitoring and controlling hate speech. And that's followed up with my question once again, is when you see that level of hate speech in the wake of this, does it give you pause? We'll continue that conversation over on Facebook Live. Right now, though, I want to turn our attention to Tiger Stadium tomorrow night, where LSU will take on Florida. No better person to talk to on that front than our own Jacob Hester. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing very, very well. I appreciate you carving out a couple minutes. I know y'all are setting up for a remote right now, so I appreciate you squeezing me in. Okay, talking LSU, Florida, no better person to talk to than, Mr. Fourth Down himself. Before we set the table for tomorrow, just share your thoughts, your reflections on LSU's Florida rivalry.
Oh, I mean, for me, I think it's LSU's rival, and look, I know that can change for a lot of people. I always kind of tell people, like, if you ask my grandfather, he would have said Tulane. My dad, maybe Ole Miss. I say Florida. My sons probably say Alabama. So I understand that it changes for LSU, but for me and my time and when we were playing, it was the Florida Gators. I don't like them. They don't like me, and that's how everybody kind of felt. And, like the game, it meant something in the early 2000s. It was like, they won a national championship in 06. We won in 07. They won in 08. And so, like, you won that game. It's almost like it was kind of like a path to a national championship. And so it's the game I look forward to every year, and not because, it's the one that, I get talked about maybe the most. It's just, some good old-fashioned, we don't like you college football. So for me, I just think about the games. I mean, the weirdness and the things that happen in those. You could go to our fourth down game. You can go to LSU faking a field goal and it bouncing up and, landing right in the kicker's lap. And, he gets the first down. And Jarrett Lee hits Terrence Oliver in the end zone. The Fog game where a guy throws a cleat 20 yards. And you make a field goal hit a field goal that we don't even know if it goes in. I'm watching Gordy to see his reaction to see if it goes through the uprights. I mean, goal line stands for them too. I mean, when they had to come to Tiger Stadium because of a hurricane. And so
we lost the game. We lost the game out of that deal. We literally lost a home game because of that deal. So, yeah.
I mean, there's so much weird. There's so many, like, unique moments in that series. It's a rival, and if it ever goes away, I'll be incredibly sad.
So I'm right there with you. If you're picking a rival on LSU's schedule, I would rank it this way. I would go Florida is our biggest rival. Alabama's the one we hate the most. Auburn has a lot of unique situations. Those are my top three, with Texas A&M as honorable mention. But when you physically lose the revenue of a home game, that ratchets things up. And Jake, I'll take it back a decade before where you picked up the conversation. In 1997, the very first time LSU beat a number one in Tiger Stadium, it was Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators. So you're looking now at a good 30 years worth of this being a constant, just tooth and nail battle.
Yeah, and look, they've played every year since the early 70s too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people, actually realize that. They think it, maybe the 90s, because, LSU didn't have maybe a lot of success in the 90s, but that 97 game obviously touchdown Tommy Banks, and they take them down. But no, this goes back. This goes back. I mean, it's a 50-plus year. Every single year you're playing them. And so, the SEC, you're moving to 9 games, and everybody's talking about permanent opponents. And there's some people on our station that are like, oh, I want the 3 easiest. I'm like, look, I know I'm a meathead. I realize that. But I want Florida, Auburn, and Alabama, the 3 schools that you just said, and for those 3 reasons that you just said.
Yep.
Like, that's what's great about college football, is like you have these moments where you look forward to them for 6 months, and then they finally get here, and you're like all day on campus, and it's like this excitement that you can't contain, and it's this anticipation that you can't just, you can't wait for kickoff, and you just all day, it's the only thing that you're thinking about, and it's like, man, those 3 schools that you just mentioned, like those create those emotions in me and a lot of other Tiger fans, and so no, to say I'm ready for a Saturday would be an understatement.
Give me the 2-minute preview. LSU's offense, do we come out of the funk this week?
Yeah, you certainly got to. last year when you played them, it was the weird stat lines because you dominated first downs and yards and third down conversions, and you dominated every single category. Time of possession, but they sacked you 7 times, and that was the difference in the game. Obviously that can't happen again. And for this offense, they've tried to be committed to running the football. You got to stick with it, even if it's not working. And I'd like to see them be more diverse in the run game, have some different stuff up. And look, if you got to get your receivers involved to have success, that's fine. You've got unique receivers that also have kind of running back abilities. And Xavier Thomas is a perfect example. So you have to use those players and their skill set because, you can't move the ball all up and down the field. They did it last week against Louisiana Tech as well and just not have points to show for it. So that's got to be the main thing. You got to get, committed again to the run game, which you've tried to, but it's got to be even more. And then you got to turn those opportunities into points. And also, the last thing, you got to push the football down the field, which has been a little surprising that they haven't done that in the first 2 games. Everything's kind of been intermediate route type stuff. And the one time they did last week was the interception. So I think they can. They're talented. The second half against Clemson, this offense showed that they can do that. But you certainly in a game like this, the defense you feel really good about, but the offense has to be able to turn those yards into points.
That was actually my follow-up question there, Jake, was about the downfield stuff because I'm curious, is this the week that Chris Hilton Jr. moves his name up in the box score a good bit? Because up until now, it's been all Aaron Anderson.
He certainly has the skill set to do so, but, he's not the only one. Varian Brown, Chris Hilton Jr., those guys, you blink and they're past you. Xavier Thomas is the same way. You get some real speed there. You have to, because think about how much that unlocked last year at the end of the season. Oklahoma game, the Baylor game, and the bowl game when Chris Hilton Jr. started to get over the top of those defenses.
Mm-hmm.
It just unlocked so many things because safeties can't cheat up and they got to respect you. And when you're just throwing the intermediate stuff, they start to creep up a little bit more. They creep up a little bit more. Well, then now they've added themselves into the run defense just by their alignment as well. So it opens up everything on your offense. And look, Aaron Anderson, if I had a choice of a receiver in the country, he'd be hard for me not to choose him. And I know there's some dogs out there across this country, but when you need a play, he's always there, and he's a very smart receiver as well. But, yeah, to your point, you got to get it. It can be Chris Hilton Jr., it can be Varian Brown, it can be any of the 3 speedsters they got, but they got to take some shots down the field because if they don't, then it's just going to close everything else off.
I only bring up Hilton because he's the one that we were all looking forward to before the season started. In the meanwhile, Jacob Hester will be sitting right next to Chris Blair in the booth on the call with the color commentary tomorrow night on the network. We always appreciate the time, sir.
Absolutely. Anytime. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. Go Tigers. We will Jake will be up on the air in about 12 minutes. Oh, which means we got a break. We're coming up. All right, quick break. Come back. We'll talk to Lake Urgent Care next. That's what I thought. Yeah. See, I told you I was 99% there.
I got you.
And the last time she was on, it was like the smoothest conversation ever. So.
Seems like she's always good when she comes home.
Yeah. All right.
Very informative.
Byron says it might sound corny, but I'm more motivated to go to large events after a terrorist attack. It's my little civilian way of saying screw you to them. Kind of Braveheart. That was the name of the movie. Every man dies, not every man truly lives. Is that the mentality there, Byron? Troy says it only takes one. Could not be more exemplified than from the Charlie Kirk assassination, and future history might be changed. Still, the few like Luigi and this guy probably live in echo chambers more than mainstream social media. And that's the part that, like, it makes it impossible to translate. Because if you wanted to talk with Charlie, you took the microphone. But when you talked, he'd talk back. There was discourse. Echo chambers online. Like, the next time, and y'all know I avoid saying liberal and conservative. Like, those libs. I never do that. But the next time a liberal friend concedes a point in an online argument will be the first. The next time someone who is not just on the left, but far to the left says, oh, I never thought about it like that. That will be the first ever. That's why I don't argue on Facebook. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Profita used to have a saying, it's like trying to teach a pig to sing. It's never going to work, and then it annoys the pig. It's just...
No, but you're right. I mean...
yeah, it's not going to work. You're not...
comments like, oh...
Yes,
now I
I'll go
understand.
into a discussion
Right.
willing to listen and say, what have I missed thus far? Most online go into discussion saying, here are my points, and then I'm going to stick my fingers in my ears like a 3-year-old going, yeah.
Because that's what social media does. It gives us a voice, but not so much the ability to, dare I say, have a little bit of empathy and compassion. Or, it's a platform for us to be heard, Brian. Oh, man. Yeah.
Shout out Troy. Troy just won the internet for today. Oh, do we have a Lake Urgent Care open, or is it just me?
No, there's no.
Okay. I saw referenced Braveheart. Byron says, freedom!
Yeah.
And look what Troy says.
Freedom.
Is that a Mel Gibson voice or George Michael? I wish I had some tickets to give away for Troy right there.
Man.
That's a prize-winning comment.
That's good stuff. Golly.
Oh, hell. What were we talking about? 6:51, about to roll over to 6:52 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We were having way too much fun during the break over there in the chat, which is brought to you by the folks at Lake Urgent Care. Love the partnership with Lake Urgent Care. They're here for year round. I mean, right now, it is fall in Baton Rouge, which obviously means football season, right? I mean, we just got off the phone with Jacob Hester. Tomorrow will be a lot of tailgating, cheering on LSU, back in the stands every weekend. But with everything going on during football season, this is also the season where the temperature drops down a little bit. Football weather. But that brings with it cold, flu, allergies, a lot of things that Lake Urgent Care specializes in. So let's talk with Rachael Fricke from Lake Urgent Care, who is on the hotline with us right now. Rachael, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Brian. I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's funny. We started off right before the show started. My producer and I were talking about how, I feel like we've lost the idea that there's an allergy season. Like allergies are around the clock, all around all the calendar. But now you can attack allergy season onto the beginning of cold and flu season. It's like a double whammy.
All year long.
Yeah.
It is a double whammy. You're right.
Why is this season so busy for Lake Urgent Care?
It's the perfect storm, right? So when the kids go back to school and LSU students pack the classroom, just like you said, Brian, colds, flu, strep, everything, all of it, right? It starts spreading like wildfire. So once you add in football season, the long tailgating days that we all love, late nights, and sometimes a sprain, dehydration, and you've got plenty of reasons people end up needing care. So on top of that, allergies, like you said, always flare when the weather shifts, and nobody wants to miss a big game or the holidays. So because they're sick, they're going to need us, Brian.
Let's talk about, I want to break down a couple things here. We're going to get away from where we're supposed to be. But you mentioned dehydration right there. And, yeah, we do have longer days on the weekends. And, look, as a parent, the weekdays are rough because it is also back to school time, and that means hauling kids to practices everywhere. That just means general fatigue overall. Is there a correlation between that general fatigue and, lowering our internal guards to fight these incoming colds and flus?
Absolutely. No, the more exhausted we are, the busier we are. We forget to take care of ourselves, let's be honest, and as parents, I know, Brian, you're an amazing father. And of course, I hope I can say I'm an amazing mother.
No doubt.
We focus on our kids. We forget about ourselves. And so it's so important that on these hot in Louisiana fall days that we continue to stay hydrated and we just take care of ourselves and we remember to rest, hydrate, repeat. So yes, no, it's so critical to take care of ourselves.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what sets Lake Urgent Care apart when it comes to not just Tiger fans, but I was kind of setting the table with the families there. What sets Lake Urgent Care apart for Tiger fans and Baton Rouge families?
Well, we've been part of this community for over 25 years, so people know that they can trust us. We're open 7 days a week with extended hours. Our Drusilla location's open until 10 o'clock, and we've got clinics all over Greater Baton Rouge, including one right near campus. So from flu shots to fast testing for things like RSV, strep, or COVID, all the things we mentioned, we're here to keep Tiger Nation healthy so that they can enjoy the season.
Not to mention, and I'm going to go back to those practices as well, but like you're coming out of soccer practice with a sprained ankle, Lake Urgent Care is there.
Absolutely. No, we want to be that trusted partner for our Tiger Nation and those athletes, and we're right there off campus. So convenience is everything for students. So our Highland and Lee clinic is right off campus, like I mentioned. So whether they've got insurance or no insurance, really, care is affordable. We even have a flat fee option, Brian. And because students are busy, they love being able to check in online. So convenience, like I mentioned, is everything. Even use virtual visits right there from their dorm room or the apartment. They don't even have to leave campus sometimes if the symptoms are suitable for a virtual care.
Rachael Fricke from Lake Urgent Care is our guest. Expound upon that flat fee, because I know that is an unbelievably important decision-making factor sometimes when you go back to the top of the page with us not wanting to take care of ourselves. Your fees are not a deterrent.
Right. So we work hard to make sure care is accessible. We accept most insurances, but if you don't have coverage for that flat fee, we offer it at $170. And what's nice about that is there's no surprises. So what you see is what you pay, and if you're ever unsure, you can call your local Lake Urgent Care or check our website for full pricing details.
I know we were talking seasonal here, Rachael, but if you could open it up to just talk about some of the other services that Lake Urgent Care provides, just beyond the regular walk-in visits.
Right. A lot of people are surprised, Brian, at how much we offer. We partner with local businesses for occupational health, so things like physicals, drug testing, and workplace injury care. We also offer medical weight loss with options. We had a fun segment on that, Brian, but we offer like semaglutide, tirzepatide, plus check-ins to help patients stay on track. And for convenience, like I mentioned, we have virtual care, online check-in, and our MyChart portal, which is so important, guys. I just want to push MyChart for a second, especially if you have a full family that you're taking care of and you're want to keep a close eye on their health. Please download the MyChart app portal. And so for results and communication, being part of our Lady of the Lake network means your care stays connected across the board.
Yeah, it's an important connection right there between MyChart and Our Lady of the Lake.
Exactly. You got it. You nailed it.
One more before we get you out of here, and we got Rachael Fricke I got two more before we get you out of here. How does Lake Urgent Care stay connected to the overall community around this time of year?
Well, we've cared for Baton Rouge families, LSU students, and local businesses for decades. Our clinics stretch from Central to Denham Springs, Prairieville, Perkins, and right, like I mentioned, near LSU. So we're proud to accept VA insurance for our local veterans too. And at the end of the day, we're just focused on keeping this community healthy and cheering on Tigers alongside everyone else.
Last one before we get you out of here, Rachael, and thank you for hopping on board this morning. You talk about that ease of care earlier. Walk us through how Baton Rouge, how Tiger Nation can take advantage of y'all's services.
It's simple, really. So just walk into any Lake Urgent Care location. If you want to save time, go to lakeurgentcare.com and check in online to hold your spot so you don't miss kickoff. We're all excited about this weekend. And don't forget, we also offer virtual visits, like we mentioned, for fast, convenient care. From flu shots to football sprains, Lake Urgent Care is here for Tiger Nation.
Priorities. Don't miss kickoff. I love it. Rachael Fricke from Lake Urgent Care. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning. Awesome stuff.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great
You do
weekend.
the same.
Thank you. Bye.
Do the same and go Tigers. Absolutely. Oh, I love that partnership. Schedule your time so you don't miss kickoff. I mean, it's cold season. It's about to be flu season. And look, if you're a parent, you already know how kids get dinged up. Just we run them too hard. I know, but what else you gonna do? Have them sit on the couch? That's what Lake Urgent Care is here for, to step in for all those needs. It's a great partnership, and they're great people as well. All right, we got that is hour one in the books. Coming up next hour, Ted James is on with us at 7:05. So we're going to blow out top stories and trending and get Ted in here. That's next. What you say, Rich? Yeah? Yeah? What you got?
Louisiana passes that, I'll be dead. But we need to keep this guy out. Anytime my brother's involved with stealing Lincoln statue from Homer's house, and the two white guys, his friends, go, dude, I wouldn't do it if I was you, because this ain't looking good.
Hey, Rich, one of those was a woman.
I know, I saw that. What about those three beauty queens down in Generate? You saw that one? I didn't even realize Trudy was a woman. I thought it was a woman. Wait a minute, that's Trudy.
Mark it down. Okay.
Walk the line, number 1 minute. Love it. I'm sure Scotty Mack will
That cover of Hurt, one of his last songs. Hurt, that was a 9 Inch Nails song.
So Scotty, so man, you go to that 7-inch Crudas concert tonight? He's going tonight to Houston. They in Houston tonight.
Who?
9 Inch Nails.
He's going to 9 Inch Nails?
Yeah,
man, that's going to be a good show.
I had a woman completely perplexed yesterday at cross country practice. When Christmas time comes around, she's going to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and they've been around. You remember like Wizards?
I know
Winter,
of
all
them.
that, right? Yeah. It's that up-paced instrumental Christmas music.
Good stuff.
I said, damn it! Even our Christmas music now has to come out as trans. She thought I was being serious, and like she's like,
that's even more funny.
See, Brian, you got to watch what you say on the radio today. You represent yourself, the station, and guarantee.
I hear
you.
You
got to be careful, dude. Oh, dude, wait. I wanted to tell you something. Anyway. Yeah, I know you were busy yesterday, and I know it was a tough day with 9/11 and Charlie Kirk, you know.
Charlie Kirk hit harder than I thought.
You saw all the videos? He's the one I can't say. You saw the one where TMZ released it, the guy walking like this?
No.
Oh, okay.
He was walking down the street. I saw that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who jumped down off the... Yeah, he heard himself jumping off the building.
Yeah, but he's walking like this, right? Because he's got the gun, they say, hidden here.
Oh,
How the hell is... No, because they say he's holding the front of the gun. That's why he's walking like this. It's in his pants.
I thought he heard himself jumping off the building.
No, what I'm saying is, how do you jump off a building and land like this, but they found the gun in the woods?
Right.
How do you jump off a building?
You got to put the gun down your pants after you
Because you can't, because he's like this. He's not holding nothing.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
I got to go back and see it come down again.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Ted. Hi, this is JP with Brian Haldane. Looking to have you on the show in just a few minutes. All right, thank you.
7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. And a busy hour it will be. We got Mayor President Sid Edwards coming up at 7:35. We've got Jonathan Williams coming on with us from oh crud! I put my papers away. He is with the, I have it written down. Oh, here we go. The American Legislative Exchange Council. And this is basically a segment that says, when our legislature gets together, they're actually doing some things. We are registering on a number of people's radars right now, and Louisiana is on the move. That's all still to come. Right now, though, we're going to blow out top stories and trending this hour because I think the Charlie Kirk assassination it's been a big topic of discussion. It's obviously very tragic. And Wednesday night, 8:54 p.m., I get a text. And it's from our good friend Ted James, formerly used to head up District 101 here in Louisiana. He put in the run for mayor president not long ago. He says, if you discuss the Charlie Kirk assassination, let me know. Time for common sense to be common again. And I couldn't agree more. So let's put him on the hotline right now. Ted, how you been, man?
I'm good, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. Great to hear your voice again. Let's dive right in. Your initial reaction on Wednesday was what?
I was heartbroken. I think that we have come to a point where we have just forgotten how to be civil as a society. Then, I believe it kind of morphed into rage. And I will admit that I had to Google Charlie Kirk, right? I knew the name, but I couldn't remember what his face looked like, right? He wasn't a name that I just immediately knew what he looked like. I couldn't quote, but the first picture that I saw was a picture of his family, right? And as I sit here in carpool with my 8-year-old, I don't have to agree with a person's ideas. I don't have to support the things that they say. But you still feel pain when someone is murdered because of their views, all right, on both sides. And then on social media, you read things from both sides, just sickening. And it's funny because I had some banter back and forth with Anna Johnson, and I think, she said, this world just needs prayer. And then I responded jokingly, I said, and probably a little bit of weed, just because folks could just calm down, right? And, man, it's, political violence is something that, this is unfortunately one of the bipartisan issues that we have because it's happening on both sides. And, hopefully at some point there is an elevated conversation. And Mike Johnson, our speaker who I served with, he's been one that has, called to calm the temperature down, to kind of relax and come back to center. And I hope that folks locally, statewide and national can follow that trend so we can get to a level of respect, because I think most of us can agree that things are just getting out of hand.
We're talking with Ted James about just cooling the political rhetoric right now. It's interesting, Ted, because Mike Johnson called for a moment of silence and prayer in the House in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and everyone who was in that room at that time stood and were silent in respect. Not long after that, Lauren Boebert asked for prayer for Charlie Kirk, and someone in the chamber shouted no. Which video between those two do you think went viral?
Oh, so the one where when she shouted no,
right.
I saw it, right?
Yeah.
But
they had just done that. So who's in the wrong here? The person calling for that second round, or the person who shouts no within the chamber there? And it was only called for in order to get that response.
Most definitely. And honestly, and some of my friends that are listening are probably going to get mad. I think that the person, I am a big decorum person, respect the body, respect the House, respect what's supposed to be the people's house. So for me, I would say that the person that yelled no, right?
Right.
Because you respect the decorum of the House. We had those issues in the legislature where, we've had issues, especially around, police reform, folks that were murdered or killed, justifiably or not, on from the hands of police. We tried to do a moment of silence after the George Floyd thing. We didn't have anybody scream no, but we definitely had folks question why we were doing it, right?
Right.
And so it's just, at some point, I was watching a news outlet this morning, and one lady, she's like, "Oh, this is squarely at the hands of the Democrats," and I turned around to see, and this is a woman who's running for governor somewhere. So of course, for her, I don't know if she really believes it, but that's stirring up her base because she is a candidate, and I think that way too often. Now that I'm just on the outside as a voter, there are too many folks that are as voters are looking for that type of someone that's going to stir up the pot, as opposed to someone who is saying, we had Charlie Kirk, we had a school shooting, now we have HBCUs being threatened.
Yep.
When can we talk about policy reforms? When can we talk about possibly teaming up with someone of their other side to go to colleges to talk about how we disagree civilly, right? Why don't we go and do, some type of common sense tour around how we can disagree on how to move the needle, but we agree that we need to move the needle, right?
Right.
But that's just, I think that my style is no longer in style. So, somebody has to elevate and move this conversation where folks are going to actually listen.
Well, and like, I'm not here to pat you and me on the back here, but within that last question that I asked, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. My answer was to blame the Republican. Your answer was to blame the Democrat. Hold your own house accountable, right? And like,
I think that's it.
How do we do that though? Like, that's, to me, that's the hard part, because the one who puts down their sword first is the one who will be struck down.
That's right. And this I think the environment that we live in is us versus them, right? I have literally I saw something on social media that basically said, someone who made his life about degrading others because you mourn for this person and his family, you are weak, right? And that had more energy or engagement on social media than the post from the Louisiana Democratic Party that asked for, prayer and condemning political violence, right? But we also have to condemn political violence no matter what side of the aisle it hits, right? I know Steve Scalise very well, right? Don't agree with him politically on everything, but, when he was shot, I shed a tear because I know Steve Scalise personally. I know his family, right? And the fact that he's still there in Congress, right, that gives me some hope, because I don't know in this environment, if I'm someone who's already been shot, I don't know if I'm still going to be out there, right? So I have to, at least respect him for the courage that he displays just to be in this environment right now. Now, of course, I did hear some chatter about how, you elevate security at the Capitol, but for me, I haven't heard a lot about how you elevate security on college campuses, because what I fear is that the response is going to be colleges across the country are not going to invite any type of political discourse, and I believe that the young people are the key to getting to a society that you and I are talking about, where folks can have these conversations and then go to the cafeteria and share a meal, right? Folks can go have these conversations and then go to the football game or tailgate together. And but when you shut down these types of conversations, no matter how far right or how far left on a college campus, I think that you don't give our young people the ability to grow, mature, and learn how to have discourse.
Shutting down the discourse, shutting down the conversation and the avenues for conversation in real life only further entrenches the silos. It worsens the problem. It doesn't help it.
100%.
And I appreciate you hopping on board for a couple minutes this morning. We got to catch up soon.
Yes, of course. I may pop up at 7:30 so I could talk to you and see it.
Come on in, man. We got you.
Tell the coach I said hello.
Will do. He is Ted James. We always appreciate the time right there. I live in the 101st. I can proudly say I voted for Ted before as state representative. 7:15, Talk 107.3 FM. We're running long. All right. The American Legislative Exchange Council has taken note of what's going on in the Louisiana legislature. We're going to talk with Jonathan Williams next. Oh. He should be. I pushed him back to 7:20 because I knew we were going to run along with Ted. I did not realize that 7:15 break was that short. It's okay. I'm backlogged on live reads. Seven 717 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. About 2 minutes from right now, we're going to be talking with Jonathan Williams. He's with the American Legislative Exchange Council. He is also he's the president of the American Legislative Exchange Council. He's also their chief economist. He's also the co-author of Rich States, Poor States. Louisiana has jumped 13 spots in their economic outlook. Why? What are we doing right, and how can we capitalize on it? We'll talk with Jonathan Williams in just a minute. While I do have a minute, LSU's at home tomorrow, but you know they will be hitting the road pretty soon, and Baton Rouge Metro Airport wants to make sure you're there, and as the hype around this team grows, you know the tickets are going to go quick. So nonstop flights to see LSU at Vandy, LSU at Alabama, LSU at Oklahoma. FlyBTR.com is your home for the Tiger away games. They have added a specific nonstop flight just for Tiger fans. So direct flight to Nashville, direct flight to Birmingham, direct flight to Oklahoma City. BTR is going to get you there. It is shaping up. I mean, it's the first time since 2019 this team's been 2-0. So we're looking at good things moving in the right direction for the LSU Tigers, and you can be there. You can be there for the away games. FlyBTR.com, FlyBTR.com. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to get caught up on Thrive EBR. Mayor President Sid Edwards in the house. Can't wait to chat with him a little bit, not just about Thrive EBR, but pick his brain a little bit about it's high school football season. I adore high school football. I played 2 years of high school football terribly. It's bad, but it's a special time, and we're in a special place for it. And he's the absolute perfect person to talk to about that. So looking forward to that conversation coming up in just a little bit, but. Got one eye on the clock. We ran shorter than I thought with Ted. So Jonathan Williams is like I said, the president and chief economist. We moved up 13 spots in the Rich States, Poor States economic outlook. We are up to number 18 overall when it comes to economic outlook. Now, that being said, there's still a lot going on that we need to work on the legislative front, right? Laying the groundwork for a better economy is one thing. Pouring the foundation within that groundwork and then building upward from there is another. That's how you move from number 18 into the top 10. Taking down, legal barriers. We are still, while we are moving up the economic side, we are still a judicial hellhole as of the last rankings, so need to work on that as well. But we're doing a lot of things right, and I want to talk about a few of those with Jonathan Williams, who's on the hotline right now. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Not glad to have you on. We've got a lot to talk about. We jumped 13 spots all the way up to number 18. Tell me why.
Well, there's a lot of good news there. I mean, the Louisiana comeback story, I think, is fully underway. And one of the big reasons why was something that we at ALEC were very involved with Majority Leader Mark Wright and Speaker of the House and Representative Julie Emerson and others, and that's the flat tax. Getting major tax reform done. We've seen states across the country move towards fairer, flatter tax systems, especially lowering taxes on individuals and small businesses. And that's exactly what Louisiana did with its flat tax of now 3%. That's an incredible turnaround from where the state has been kind of as an outlier in the Southeast. I mean, let's not forget the Southeast, the SEC region is one of the most competitive regions, not just for college football on Saturdays, but for good economic policy and good policy overall. And so that was a huge factor of it, but you can go down the list of lots of different items I know we may want to unpack. I think one of the other big ones is school choice. The economic freedom combined with education freedom with the Gator plan, which I know still needs to probably expand to more families across the state to make it fully universal for every family to have the choice to send their child to whatever type of school works best for them. You combine those two elements. That's extremely powerful in our research as we've studied the 50 states. And, why is it that Americans vote with their feet and go places and move from state to state? Why is it that businesses choose state versus state for investment decisions? These are all really important factors, workforce development and economic freedom.
We're talking with Jonathan Williams about Louisiana jumping up the rankings according to rich states, poor states. We are all the way up to number 8. We're number 18 for the 18th edition. Normally, Jonathan, when you get towards the middle of the rankings somewhere, you start to see diminishing returns on the efforts. A jump of 13 spots is a big one. Are we, comparatively speaking, are others taking their foot off the gas?
Well, there is a little bit of that. I think that, I think the 13 spots was the largest move of any state in the right direction in this 2025 edition of Rich States, Poor States. So that needs to be absolutely celebrated. At the same time, there's a lot of states that are continuing to make improvements as well. And so I think the threat is when states do take the foot off the gas, as you mentioned, you can quickly fall behind just by standing still. And Louisiana leapfrogged a lot of states that weren't taking it as seriously in this last year. And then, of course, the threat for Louisiana is that can happen to any state, right? And so states like Mississippi, even just this legislative session, began the process to phase out their personal income tax altogether. So did Oklahoma. And you've got Texas, Tennessee, and Florida that have kind of paved the way in the southeastern region as being zero personal income tax states, and they've always been that way. And so I think there's a race for competition broadly across America today, but even more intensely, you see that in places like the Southeast.
Got Jonathan Williams for another couple minutes here. Let's talk about those taxes for just a minute, because we're in a spot right now where at a 3% flat tax statewide, income tax statewide, we are looking to reduce that down. But just from a running the state perspective, there are sweet spots, and you can cut too much from time to time. Are we in a sweet spot right now, or dare I bring up the Laffer curve? Are we in a sweet spot right now, or can we go down further?
I think there's always room for growth and improvement, and that's something, as we've seen across the country, kind of keying off of President Trump's call for government efficiency with the DOGE effort and just looking for ways to make government more responsive to the needs of individual taxpayers. I think there's more room to go, certainly. Sometimes the first tranche is easier. It's the lower hanging fruit to cut, and then you have to look at ways to continue to really stop the rate of growth of government. So over time to pay for a lot more reductions. And then, of course, what you see with the Laffer curve is the states that avoid income taxes or have low rate flat taxes like Louisiana does now are going to see more inbound migration and investment. And at the end of the day, that's what creates more revenues when you have more economic activity in your state. I mean, look at, the examples, Louisiana versus Florida. If you go back to 1950, both states had 8 members of Congress from the United States House. Florida has something like 28 today, and Louisiana's down to 6.
Yep.
Now, the difference, of course, was Florida had zero income tax and became that destination state for so many people. And look at the revenue that they've gotten as a result, not from income taxes, but sales taxes and all the other ways that they fund government services.
Do me a favor, don't bring up Florida beating Louisiana today, because we play Florida tomorrow over in Tiger Stadium, so we need to keep our minds.
Revenge this weekend. How's that?
There you go. That's fair enough. Fair enough. You talk about trimming waste, Jonathan. I want to dive down that path just a little bit, because constitutionally our legislature is doing what they can, but there's a lot embedded in there that they have to undo before they can further cut waste. How difficult is the road ahead for it's? I feel like we've taken advantage of what we can take advantage of. It's going to take harder work and deeper digging to move beyond where we are right now.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of leadership, and that's what it takes is a consistent effort, not just in one year, but in multiple years, to look at those ways to make government leaner and more efficient. But the other way that's so important to look at is, one way of solving this issue is just letting government grow at the rate of the private sector or lower, and you over time begin to make government relatively smaller to the size of the economy. That's what we've seen states across the country do, like Colorado, even with this taxpayer Bill of Rights. Let government grow, but just don't let it outpace the growth of the private sector economy. That's kind of the common sense economics 101 piece of this all.
Okay, but our government has grown at a greater rate than the economy for so long that the governmental industry is a piece of the economy. So can you get the horse back in the barn, so to speak?
Well, I think so. And, this is the way that I think is probably least politically painful, because you don't have to actually go back in and necessarily cut everything. Let's put in the budget is you just restrain the rate of growth going forward. And that's what Colorado's shown to be very successful and very politically popular, by the way, with their taxpayer Bill of Rights in their state constitution. That's probably something that needs to be a discussion. I know many of the big spending items are in the Louisiana Constitution. And so I think matching that with a spending cap that could be in the Constitution, something common sense like has worked in Colorado, I think is something to look at, certainly.
Got a couple minutes left here with Jonathan Williams. I greatly appreciate the time this morning because, at the end of a legislative session, Jonathan, when we're here in the state, we look around, we ask what didn't get done. Like, where did we fail? Where did we come up short? It's important to see others take note of what we've done right. So I want to talk about a couple of the other things in our last, 3 minutes that we haven't touched on yet. When it comes to trimming, when it comes to cutting, a lot of work got done on the Medicaid waste front. What did y'all see from that end?
Well, that's such an important point. I was with Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday in the U.S. Capitol, and a great leader for Louisiana here in fighting the good fight on federal issues. And, of course, this has become one of the biggest issues being talked about across the country right now is finding the waste, fraud, and abuse in some of these government programs, the duplicative payments and items like that. And so kudos for those that have been looking for those ways to reduce the fraud in Medicaid in Louisiana. We're seeing it across the country. That was a key element of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill was to add the work requirements clearly. So able-bodied working-age adults with no kids should not be on the government dole unless they're working or volunteering at least 20 hours a week, kind of a low bar.
Right.
But something that they're getting beat up on tremendously by the liberal media across the country right now. And the other thing is just looking out for the fraudulent payments. There were people that are collecting across multiple states. States, by the way, were prohibited from looking for this kind of fraud by the Biden administration. Think about that for a second. They prohibited states from doing the checks that would have checked the eligibility for Medicaid recipients. That's all being ended now, and we're going to have a real chance to find that waste, fraud, and abuse. And not just for Louisiana, but, hey, we got 37 trillion reasons at the national level with our national debt that this is an essential item that we must address.
Just so casually, we've got 37 trillion reasons. NBD. We're all right. Got 1 minute left here, Jonathan. And Jonathan Williams from Rich States, Poor States is where the ranking is at. Within this last minute, Jonathan, if you could just, what do you forecast as being the next steps Louisiana actually tackles? Well,
I think it's the spending side, right? And it's as James Carville would say, it's the economy, stupid. I think, in the case of states needing to keep their economy strong, keeping the tax cuts in the right direction, and not resting on your laurels. I mean, this is an incredible Louisiana comeback story that I wrote about, that we've been talking about here. It's one that the rest of the country needs to hear. And Louisiana was a laggard in the Southeast, as you know, when it comes to economic competitiveness, with the outmigration, loss of jobs, people moving out of state, losing family members. The incremental progress needs to be celebrated, but then also continuing to work at making those tax rates more competitive, looking at those constitutional changes that have maybe things that have been baked in the cake in Louisiana's constitution that still need to be addressed, and then putting some reasonable spending limits out there to make sure that this progress can continue. And then, of course, as we talked about a little bit earlier, make sure that that education freedom is truly universal, so every family gets to decide the public, private, charter, homeschool of their choice for their kids and determine that destiny. And you see these horrible reading and math scores coming out nationally and in Louisiana. That needs to change. And I think education freedom is the way to do it when you combine that with economic freedom.
Problem is, once we bake it into the cake, we deep fry it right after that. He's Jonathan Williams with the American Legislative Exchange Council. Good news in the state of Louisiana, and I appreciate the update, sir. Thank you for a couple minutes.
Well, thanks for having me. Take care.
Likewise. Yes, absolutely. That's not the last time we're talking to him. That was awesome. Here's news. ABC. Hey, I'm sending you a cut. Come to me. Come to me. My apologies. We got to ABC News a little bit late. I'm sending the cut to JP right now. I want to make sure we are up to speed before we even get to our local news. I want to make sure we have this. The big news right there is that there is a person in custody. An arrest has been made. JP, check your email real quick. I've got the report from Pierre Thomas.
Literally getting it right now.
Yeah,
All right,
I did not have an eye on the clock right there. That's completely my fault. I missed the hard break by about 14 seconds, and within those 14 seconds, that's when the news was being reported on. Here's ABC's Pierre Thomas.
I've just spoke to a source who is confirming that a person of interest is in custody. ABC News is aware of a name that law enforcement was focusing on overnight. We're not releasing that name until we get additional confirmation.
Okay, so that is the big news right now, and it is important to note this is the third time a person of interest has been taken in for questioning. Difference is this time they have surveillance footage, they have photos out there, and they have hundreds of leads that they have followed up on already. So not saying definitively that this is the suspect, but that is the big breaking news at this hour. Well done. Well done. Yeah. How about that turnaround time? How about a shout out to ABC's news call right there?
I'm telling you, huh?
They had it available for me online already. Like it was if I had wanted to go to that 2 minutes before the news, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. The copy paper we have now sticks together. And I want this on Facebook record. I want this known, okay? Forrest, our chief financial officer, when I have the blank pages right here, I'm putting them right back in the copier. I'm not throwing all the blank pages that stick together. All right? I'm saving guaranteed money right there. Huh? No, we're not going to talk numbers. All right, let's. Over here. Oh, that was when I was on the moon. Yeah, you're right there. Speaking of that, isn't that water somewhere over there?
Give me a little air out of that thing. Ooh. Ooh. That thing. Had to get your hand out of the way of that thing.
Seven. It's flipped. There we go. 738 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. I'm moving over to a different microphone to make a little room in the studio here. We got Mason Batson. We've got Mayor President Sid Edwards in with us. Fellas, how y'all doing this morning?
Doing well, Brian. How are you?
Hey, we good. Chippy, ready to roll.
Are you, though?
No.
Are you? No, I'm taking, I'm like, watch how wide the eyes get on the other side of the room. I'm taking this in a completely different direction to start off with. We're gonna make the mayor cry. It's your first season not coaching high school football in how long?
40 years.
Good.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I went to watch, my Struma Indians play last night. 24-0 victory over McKinley. But really, I'm telling you, I don't miss it at the level I thought I would.
Really?
I miss it.
If a Struma lost, you might.
Maybe so, yeah. But I'm so busy and I'm so immersed in what we're doing now that I'm okay.
Okay, you've been an absolute staple, a name that is synonymous with high school football in Baton Rouge. It occurred to me at the beginning of the show this morning. I'm like, man, when was the last time he wasn't coaching?
Yeah, I feel it more on walking into the stadium on Friday night and hearing the band and everything that goes with it. I feel it then.
Well, and then conversely, with a win, you could say, look what I helped rebuild.
That's it.
And look, he's still got it. There was a little inter-office rivalry between the staff. One person on our staff, Chase and Grant, big McKinley alumni.
Okay.
And wanted to bet him on the game. And he said, let me just tell you, Strum was going to win, and it's not going to be close.
See? And it wasn't close. Got to love it. Speaking of being big on the rebuild, how about that for a segue? We need a little talk a little bit about rebuilding within the office. Had Charlie Davis on yesterday, talk about being the chief efficiency officer. Want to pick your brain a little bit about how the decision was made to create that position and what the intent is here. What are his goals? We talked about his goals yesterday. Right. What are your goals for him?
Right. Well, when we first came in, Charlie was hired as interim, interim CAO. And the plan all along was to eventually get a full-time person. But Charlie did a bang-up job. I really thought it was going to be 3 months, maybe 6 months, him in that role. And all of a sudden we looked up and it was 9 months.
Yeah.
And the timing was right. But Charlie, with the creation of this position, and I'll say this, publicly, people are worried that we created another high-paying position. Not true. We consolidated. We saved $12,000 with this move.
Okay.
So let me put that out there. This isn't an extra spot. But the whole thing with him is for him to solely focus on how we could be more efficient, go into all the departments. Let's look how we can do things better. And he'll have other roles as well. I don't think you just do that for 4 years, although right now in our city parish, you can.
So he's going to have a two-part process, at a minimum, a two-part process. Number one, diagnosis, and number two, repair. And those are two completely separate things within them. He can find a lot of waste, find a lot of room for efficiencies, but digging through to what, statutorily, constitutionally, whatever is built into our system here in East Baton Rouge, digging in and actually remedying that is a completely different battle.
It is, and that takes a little time, but, he's going to start from the bottom and work up. And, our Thrive plan, of course, I know Mason's going to talk about that in a minute, November 15th. What Charlie's work is what he's tasked with, combined with the Thrive plan. If we can get that passed, I think we can level this parish out and be in good shape. And so that's his deal. That part, people don't like to hear the word cuts.
Right.
But something's getting cut, whether it passes or not.
Right.
And I'm not saying people, but how we do things and what we do and how we do it.
Well, that kind of segues us over into Thrive EBR, and let me be the one to say it. Not a new tax. Sorry, I know that's got to be repeated a billion times. In fact, it's already been too long since the last time. Not a new tax. Right. Mason, let's get you in on this here. Talk to me. Well, let's start with picking up on Charlie and how these two things combine to help Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Charlie, as well as some other members of our staff, had already kind of started on the efficiency train. We knew from the very beginning that just Thrive was never going to be able to balance the budget.
Right.
So we knew we were going to have to cut. So we started out, and Charlie and some help with the Metro Council members and others were able to generate about $16 million worth of savings through changing some minor details with our insurance plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then William Daniel, who's our ACAO over DPW, was able to refinance some longstanding sewer debt, and that was able to save us about $5.5 million. So that was about $21 million worth of savings that we've done just in the past, really, couple of months.
Wow. Okay.
And so that plus the Thrive plan, which pays off $9.6 million or $52.4 million worth of debt, which generates $9.6 million a year in savings, will then allow us to balance the budget.
Okay, so within that, how do we walk the line of subtracting from debt while at the same time maintaining level of service? Because those are two, they're similar battles, but they have differences within them.
Well, that was the idea with Thrive, is we would be able to pay off this debt and still maintain the services, because we're going to get the cash to pay off the debt from some extra money that the Library, Council on Aging, and Mosquito came to us and said, look, we can give this up, we can help y'all pay off this debt, and we can continue to operate at our maximum operating capacity, and we'll all be fine and hunky-dory.
How's Thrive being received so far? Well, two-part question. How's it being received, and how's it being understood?
Well, I think to answer that question, I think if it's understood, it's perceived well.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not understood, it's a little more difficult, I think. So I think the hardest job we have, but the most important job we have, is to just explain to the voters, look, this is what it is. Let them make up their minds. But we just got to say, this is what it is. It's not a new tax. It's 3 renewals, and here's what all is going into it. Yeah.
Beyond it's because it's renewal plus, basically. It's renewal plus, like it's renewal, but all the money's not going back into the same pot that it started.
That's right.
It's renewal with the opportunity to make those dollars go further through other departments within. And I think that's where, if confusion starts into the equation, it's right there.
That's exactly right.
How do we get over that hump?
I think it's coming on shows like yours, Brian, and others, and getting that message out to the public that, look, this is exactly what we're doing. A lot of people, Thrive has become the word of the year, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a billboard. Who had that billboard, man?
East Baton Rouge Parish Schools.
Schools had a billboard,
Yep.
And we see it everywhere now, so we don't want to get that lost in the ether. This ultimately what Thrive is 3 ballot proposals that renew funds for those agencies, but also balances the budget.
Is it too soon to start talking about getting other agencies involved?
Well, it depends. If you're talking about Breck and Katz, is that kind of where you're going? Well, those are 2 agencies created by the state.
Yep.
And something would have to change at a state level. Now, they could hypothetically maybe come and volunteer up some money to us, but there's I'm not a lawyer, and there's some legal questions with that.
Well, because, I know there's a lot of crossing of the streams there. I know there's a lot of separation, and I know a lot of confusion, and I know I should probably get Dixon on to talk about that as both a state legislator and a lawyer, and one who's proposed bills to undo a lot of what's been done. I just didn't know if we were far enough down the road on that front to get it.
So the reason this was able to work with the library is because they're an agency created by the parish, and so as we are over the parish, we were able to do this. The Breck and Katz are a little different. So
It's but the question always comes up: why those 3? And that's the simple answer to it, is because they are EBR entities alone. Talk to me a little bit about, we're going to silo these between the library, the Council on Aging, and mosquito abatement here. Talk to me a little bit about the level of participation and, honestly, as the conversation has evolved, a growing enthusiasm within the individual agencies to say, we're here to help.
Yeah, I think that was very important. Mayor, you may want to speak to kind of how that partnership came about and, you were a big part of that. So,
yeah, well, we kicked this thing off with the library, back not long after we got in. It got a little hot, but it was people coming together. So our council, a huge shout out to our council who got involved with the library board and talked to them. Long story short, that all worked out. A team came together. But I am so grateful. The Council on Aging, Mosquito Abatement, they raised their hand and said, hey, we want in also.
Mm-hmm.
We can help. At what level we can help, we don't know. And I said, any help,
right,
will be good. And people, all three of those entities are rock stars in our community.
Mm-hmm.
The library, it speaks for itself, what they do. And the Council on Aging, who sometimes doesn't get as much love as others, that is one of the strongest outfits we've got in the city.
Well, but it's also an outfit that's been called into question in the news in recent years and whatnot. So from their end, if anybody had motivation, it would definitely be there. But the bad outshouts the good with them. The good outlives the bad, but they're one that they're underrated within the city.
They're underrated. A lot of people don't see exactly what they do, and heck, they feed so many. Well, put it this way: the Council on Aging is most important to the aging.
Mm-hmm.
And they do an awful lot. And it's like the guy at Mosquito. Okay, those people are great, and I didn't realize everything they do. But he told me, he said, out of all the animals in the world, mosquitoes are the most dangerous. It could kill you.
Yeah.
And it's true. We've heard that before.
The deadliest animal on the planet.
Deadliest animal on the planet. And they do so many things. So I like the partnership. And you asked Mason about other entities too. Well, I have an interest in having conversations down the line about that.
Yeah. Got to get there first, though. Got to get past November 1st.
Yes.
Or November 15th before we could talk about any other aspect of that. Can y'all stick around for one more segment?
Sure.
It's a quick little hit on the back end. It's a little 4.5 minute segment. I want to keep y'all here for just a quick minute. Before we get you to Your Money Now, got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. It is game day tomorrow, and there is no closer grocery store to Tiger Stadium than Mathern's. They're directly across Nicholson in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, and they're here for you on game day. If you head out to tailgate, you realize, I forgot this, I forgot that. Oh, we ran out of charcoal. No problem. Mathern's has got you covered. If you bounce from tailgate to tailgate, want to stop off for a cold beer, they got you covered there as well. They got the tent set out up front. Get yourself a bowl of jambalaya and a cold one before you move on to your next spot. Mathern's has got you covered. They're here every day as a full-service grocery store, but game day especially, it's Mathern's. She did it again. This woman who does Your Money Now, she turns her mic on and then takes a deep, 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 deep breath. And I swear, it sounds like she's doing a lot of blow. That's what she's doing. It's every time. I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money. It's just, I can't, like.
She's doing it all in one breath.
Like Ace Ventura when he solves the case,
Yeah.
right?
Alrighty then.
It was.
It's like Trump when he's got a microphone.
Yeah.
But he's doing it all with his nose. That one debate where he was following Hillary Clinton around every time he breathed.
Sneaking up behind her.
Mm-hmm. We talked to an audience yesterday that was everyone was on board with the Thrive plan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there were any dissenters there.
Can we talk about where, if Thrive passes, where does that money go? Okay.
We're gonna have to go back and see those people though.
What was the group? We're like off, right? 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. You part of that RV crew when it comes to tailgating? We're going to talk about that at 8:15 with Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. This is a world that I got a taste of this summer, and I can't wait to explore it more. Looking forward to talk with Jeff. Also, the folks from Bullfish Grill going to be in for Foodie Friday next hour as well. Right now, though, we got just a couple minutes left here. Mayor President Sid Edwards, Mason Batts from the mayor's office. We're talking Thrive EBR. Guys, thanks for sticking around for a couple more minutes because I had one or two more questions I want to get to. The first of those is, should this pass on November 15th, what's the money going to do? Where's this money going to go? What does it pay for?
So, Brian, the first part of the money goes to pay off the parish-wide debt that's been occurred over many, many years on many, many things. But that's debt owned by the parish. So it's not City of Baton Rouge debt. It's actually EBR parish debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we pay that off, we'll generate some savings, and that savings will be used to pay for mainly the stormwater master plan. It will go to fund that. And so, let's take the municipalities each separately. So, what projects will be in St. George? So that's like Jones Creek retention improvements, Ward Creek floodplain acquisition, removal of channel restrictions at Ward Creek and Siggett Lane, a couple others. In Central, you have some Amite tributary projects. In Zachary, you have the Groom Road subsurface drainage improvement project, Port Hudson Pride Road bank stabilizations. In Baker, you have the Hurricane Creek slope paving project. And we know all water eventually flows south, right?
Right.
And so some of those projects will be in different areas. And there's obviously some projects in Baton Rouge as well, but those are things that are going to be spent all across the parish. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I think we need to touch on is in the ballot language that the voters will see in November, they will notice that it will say that this money has to be spent on parish-wide priorities. Mm-hmm. So it cannot be spent on things just in the city of Baton Rouge. It has to be spent on the entire parish.
How much of that took some digging to make sure that we have crossed the streams so much over the history of this parish? We have that consolidated form of government. Siloing things cannot be the easiest of tasks. I mean, how hard did y'all have to dig to make sure, or to make sure that all the I's were dotted, T's were crossed, that this is going to stay where the money belongs?
Well, this actually kind of came about through conversations with some of the Metro Council members who represent St. George Central and those areas, and the mayors of those areas. They said, look, this would make us more comfortable if we could separate this out and make sure. And we said, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good thing to do. So our finance department worked really hard to separate those things, and they're going to continue to work really hard.
As we continue to move forward, we got 2 minutes left here. As we continue to move forward closer to Election Day, I would imagine it's a full on. Is this retail, grassroots, door to door, or talk to me a little bit about approach?
I feel personally hand-to-hand combat's what I call it. Yeah. Getting out there, boots on the ground, and you and Mason had mentioned it earlier, is the understanding of it.
Right.
But it's a challenge. If it's a candidate like I was running for mayor or someone's running for council, it's an easy deal. There's a face, there's a message, or whatever. This, the what's important to the public is vastly different from one part of the parish to the other.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like 82 campaigns within a campaign.
Well, there's 5 differences there because there's 5 cities now.
That's it. So the best we can do through media and word of mouth and getting in front of people, because we go blink and November 15th is going to be here.
Yeah, it is.
I'm concerned. Yeah. So we're going to work. I promise you that.
And that's why I asked the question, is because if you're grassroots in this campaign, can you knock on enough doors? Can you take the time to explain to enough people versus whether or not you wholesale it and leave questions unanswered because they didn't get the message directly eye to eye.
Right.
So in the meanwhile, it's not a new tax. Did I go too long without saying that? We got Mayor President Sid Edwards. We got Mason Batts. Thank you all for sticking around for a couple more minutes for those last couple questions. I think they were important ones. So appreciate y'all.
Always an honor.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you so much. We're at 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Quick break when we come back. JP will have This Day in History. We'll talk RVs, and then Bullfish Grill is in for Foodie Friday. That's coming your way next on Talk 107.3.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you helping us.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
Yes, sir. Good to see you again. You as well. Yeah, yeah.
But hey, kill. 8:06, about to roll over to 8:07 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Brian here with you, JP producing. Programming note to start off. Oh, this stinks. Let's see. Yep. Okay. We got to reschedule Foodie Friday. We had a little bit of a morning of scheduling conflict here. So let me go ahead and start to promote right now. Next Friday, Bullfish Grill is going to be on. We tried to get this done last minute over the last 24 hours and thought we could pull it off, and it's looking like that. Okay. All right. So 8:35. You know what? I think 8:35 we might go back to revisit a lot of what is broken this morning in the news. I hate to get away from the heavy news and start to have fun with Miller's RV, which we are going to at 8:15, and then dial it back into the heavy stuff. But man, news breaking as of the last hour or so is they have a person in custody wanted for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or at least to talk to this person about it. So we'll revisit that at 8:35 and bring you as much audio as we can connected to the story. Right now, though, it is time for This Day in History. Let's go.
Wait, hold on. Thing flipped on me. We got to find the old one.
It's presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs at 271-4096. 271-4096 is the phone number there for 5 Star Printing and Signs. Did I catch you by surprise, JP?
What's that?
I don't. You
This
were
Day
like,
in History?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I mean, it's 8:08.
No, what happened?
And I'm not talking about the drum machine.
Yeah. The pot was off.
Sorry.
So I had it was a misfire.
Okay.
On my end.
No worries, it happens.
Let's see. 1787, American statesman George Mason suggests the addition of a Bill of Rights to the Constitution, modeled on previous state declarations, but the motion is defeated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
1959, American Western series Bonanza premieres on NBC.
That's a big jump.
I know.
All right.
Got a lot of firsts here. 1964, speaking of Westerns, a film that starts the spaghetti Western genre, A Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
And starring Clint Eastwood in his first leading role, premieres in Italy.
Wait, what year was this?
1964.
Okay, can we go back to 1953?
Yeah, what we got?
Yeah, U.S. Senator and future President John F. Kennedy got married.
Oh.
Yeah. Got married to Jacqueline Bouvier in Newport, Rhode Island. How about that?
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
1966, the premiere of the Monkees TV show in the U.S.
You know, I look back. I watched the Monkees as a kid, like the
Did you really?
reruns
Yeah.
on Nick at Night and whatnot. It doesn't translate anymore. Something
No.
about it. It was terrible.
Oh,
It
man.
was just absolutely terrible, and I don't understand why I liked it.
Oh,
Why I was
man.
a child, but you know.
That series ran for 58 episodes.
Really?
58 episodes.
All right.
Music history here. Creedence Clearwater Revival scored their first UK #1 album with Cosmos Factory. Had a 9-week run at #1. Some of the songs, Looking Out My Back Door, Run Through the Jungle, Up Around the Bend, Who'll Stop the Rain, I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Man.
So basically their greatest hits.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's always about that first album, right? Speaking of first, 1975, Pink Floyd released their 9th studio album, Wish You Were Here.
Okay.
Yeah, #1 at 84 weeks on the chart. You know the Smurfs premiered today in 1981?
No kidding.
Yeah. Let's see. Man, it's like music heavy today. 1989, Aerosmith released their album Pump. And featured Janie's Got a Gun, The Other Side, Love in an Elevator. And they actually faced a lawsuit where a small rock band named Pump sued Aerosmith's management company for service mark infringement. Aerosmith won the case.
Sure.
Aerosmith
that's
won
it.
that.
We all care about your garage band.
Oh, man. Hey, 2024, a year ago, crew of SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission takes the first commercial spacewalk during a 5-day journey through Earth's orbit, traveling the farthest in space of any human since NASA's Apollo program.
Okay.
Good old Elon.
Yep.
Man. Birthdays?
Yeah, let's get a ton.
I know, right? Where would you start on birthdays?
I would actually start in the sports world. Do you care if I start in the sports world?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start in the sports world because on this day in 1913, Jesse Owens was born.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. From Oakville, Alabama. What? How many gold medals did he win? He dominated the 1936 Olympics, and interestingly enough, he did so wearing Adidas, and I learned about that through the podcast Business Wars. Right. Jesse Owens, born on this day in 1913. Milwaukee Brewers former infielder, I should say, Pat Listach, born on this day in 1967. I don't know him very well, but he's from Natchitoches, so I figured he's worth a shout-out. Okay. Yao Ming was born on this day in 1980, and Andrew Luck born on this day in 1989. Those were my sports ones.
So what does Adidas have to do with it? I'm probably going down a rabbit
hole. Okay. So Adidas was founded by two brothers, the Dassler brothers, which, by the way, one of them was Adolf Dassler or Adi Dassler. Okay. Adi Das.
Yeah, I would.
That's where the name Adidas comes from.
I would change my name too.
They put Adidas shoes on a black athlete in the 1936 Olympics in front of Hitler.
Okay.
So Jesse Owens won wearing German-made shoes.
That's good. Yeah. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. That's why that was a big deal. Yeah. Sorry. That's why that was a big deal. So
yeah, love that. There you go. Let's see. Barry White today. Barry White. Yeah. Musicians. Neil Peart as well of Rush. George Jones today.
Okay.
George Jones. Let's see. Who else we got? 2 Chainz. Does he count? Yeah.
2
Chainz. Throw him in there. We'll throw him in there.
What happened to 2 Chainz?
Hans Zimmer. We'll throw him in there as well.
Hans Zimmer, definitely. A lot of great
Sweeney as well.
There. Okay, Sydney Sweeney and her jeans.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker's in that number. Got a couple more for you, if there is room here. Yeah. Jennifer Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
And long since disgraced stand-up comedian Louis C.K.
Wow. Yep. Hadn't heard him in a while. As far as deaths go today, I've got Johnny Cash.
Yep.
Johnny Cash and Raymond Burr.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even have Raymond Burr. Yep. Very good. Well, are those the only ones you got? Because I'm not seeing anything.
Ones, yeah.
All right. What national day are we looking at?
You know what? We actually have a good one. Stand Up to Cancer Day.
Okay.
Stand Up to Cancer.
Let's go. All right. And that clears this day. Okay. No. I have to wish a well, she's not listening, but I have to wish a very happy 18th birthday to my daughter. Oh. Yeah. Happy birthday, Kerrigan. I know you're not listening right now because, that's hopefully you're well, no, she doesn't have Friday classes over there at USM. So, yeah, she's not in class, but she's not missing class. So, hopefully she had a bit of a late night. I hope. I don't know. But happy birthday, sweetheart. I love you. All right. Coming up on 8:15 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to talk RVing on the back end. Before we take our break, want to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. Founded in 1897. Or as JP taught us yesterday, founded in August of 1897 as a community bank. And over the years has remained true to that mission. You think about the changes in the world from 1897 to today. Staying true to one particular mission that entire time is amazing. If you are in any of the communities surrounding Baton Rouge, like Zachary, like Denham, like Clinton, like Brewley. In fact, if you want a full list, visit landmarkbankla.com. You get the full list of locations. When it comes to your personal banking, something as simple as checking and savings, or something as big as, buying your next home or planning for your retirement. They can help you with your wants, needs, dreams, and desires because you will have a banker, not just a bank. LandmarkBankLA.com. Unbelievably important to have that one-on-one relationship to help you get to that next level in life, to help you get where you want to be. You can check them out online at landmarkbankla.com. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV going to join us next.
Hey, Mr. Jeff, this is JP with Brian Haldane. Looking to have you on the show in just a few, actually, about a minute or so. When you can, please return my call. Thank you.
Coming up on 820 at Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Try him one more time there, JP. I just texted him. It's oftentimes you don't answer an unknown number, right? We're looking to connect with Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. As you know, in the heart of football season, whether you're home or away, you see those RVs stack up in the parking lots right there. It is one of the more active times for RVing, to be sure. And I've been curious about the whole setup because, well, first and foremost, I got to get a taste of the RV life over the summertime. We weren't planning on having a vacation this summer because the oldest daughter that I just wished happy birthday to, it was going off to college, and we're like, golly, I don't know what costs are going to be. Let's just save the money for this summer. And then I got connected with Jeff over at Miller's RV, and we found a way to make it happen. And we put together a little 4-day RV trip for the family. Got to visit a state park, got to visit an RV park as well, and it was fantastic. And now this year, I can't help but see RVs everywhere. It's like once you get the taste for it, you start to notice it everywhere you turn. And as I was bumping around campus last Saturday and seeing those RVs fill up the RTC parking lot, I was like, I wonder how big that is. How many of those folks over there own those? How many of them rent them? Would you rent for a home game or just an away game? And I was like, I know who to talk to about all this. That's Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV, who's on the hotline with us right now. Jeff, good morning. How are you, man?
I'm great, Brian. Man, it was so fun watching you have that big vacation, and excited about this football season coming up. It's a great time, and people are excited. And man, the purple and gold is in the air. I'm pumped. I'm ready for it.
Well, and is it RV Travel Magazine just named Tiger Stadium the #1 RV destination, #1 tailgate RV destination in the Southeastern Conference? I'm over here like, duh, welcome to the party. But to see that go out amongst the publications that go out to RVers, that's got to be big news as well. So let's talk about it. You're in the business. When you look out on campus on game day and you see all those RVs out there, how many of those are owned? How many of those are rented?
Most of them are owned.
Okay.
So the rentals, so we rent 5 units. There's a couple other, there's some individuals that rent in town and stuff like that. So there are some rentals, but the vast majority are owned.
Okay.
And a lot of people own them and use them for, everyday RV use as well. So they go camping in them, they travel in them, they do everything else, and they tailgate. I do have a few customers I've sold over the years that all they do is tailgate. And that RV is bought specifically just to take to the games, tailgate at the games, and then the rest of the year they really don't use the motorhome. So there's a few that are that exclusive with it, but most people are using the RV when they're not tailgating to travel for family vacations, to go to the local campgrounds, all of those things.
Okay, so for those that own them, and goodness gracious, that's an expensive toy to have just for 8 Saturdays in the fall. But for
yes,
those that
is,
own
yeah.
them, that is one path. For those that rent them, for those that might be considering it, home games or away games, which is more popular for you?
So it is. I would say it's really more opponent based than anything else.
Yeah.
So we, this weekend, big weekend for us. When we're playing Southeastern,
Mm-hmm.
if you decide you want to rent Friday afternoon, give me a call because I probably have a rental unit available for you.
Yeah.
But if you, if you want to go to Alabama game, those big away games rent better, obviously. So it's very much opponent based, just like you can imagine, just like the pricing of the tickets. If you go look at StubHub or one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
the pricing of the ticket goes up with the opponents because the demand is higher, and it's the same thing with the rentals. We have our pricing doesn't actually change. We keep the level pricing, but we do have, when it's the big games, they definitely book out faster. So if somebody's looking down the road at one of the bigger SEC games and they want to rent, give a call now because we are starting to book up on those games, or just come buy one. I mean, that's always an option too.
Well, I mean, there is that group of people that can buy them just for the 8 Saturdays in the fall. So why not just swing on by and grab an RV?
Grab an RV.
We got
it.
Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV with us. Okay, let's walk through a couple of the obvious advantages of tailgating with an RV. I think first and foremost is stepping inside air conditioning is a big deal.
It is, but you know what? I would actually put the biggest advantage to me is not dealing with traffic. So I go out. There is a little bit of a congestion at 5 o'clock when they open the tailgating lots on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of congestion then as everybody's, the early birds trying to get there and get in. But other than that little bit of congestion, whether you get there Saturday during the morning or later Friday afternoon, you really are not dealing with the terrible traffic you deal with during game time. And then when the game is over, when everybody else is walking back to their car, getting it, and sitting in traffic, I'm walking back to the motorhome. I'm sitting in my recliner. I'm turning on the evening game or watching one of the West Coast games, and I'm relaxing. And we might not leave till the next morning when there's no traffic. So it really just makes the rest of the experience at night. You're not sitting in the line just going like, how long am I going to be before I move?
Right.
So I love that. The air conditioning certainly is a huge thing, especially in these early games when it's so hot, to be able to have a way to get out of the heat. And even have fans and stuff like that circulating. It just is. It's so much nicer than just having a fan at a regular tailgate, because you can step in there. Having a private bathroom is another big one.
Yep.
That people feel real comfortable with, and a lot of my customers will do, especially if you have a big tailgate group. The ladies will have the use of the private bathroom in the RV, and the men will be able to walk over to the porta cans. But that is another big one. The other thing is the food. So with the food, when you're trying to bring, so one of the things that I compare RVing and tent camping, RVing makes life easier because you load everything up at your house, you drive there, everything's in the RV, and it's there where you need it when you need it. When you go tent camping, you've got to pack everything in a car or a truck or the back of the truck or a trailer or whatever.
Yep.
And then there's a ton of work getting everything set up and get ready. Well, that's the same thing with tailgating. When you're tailgating, in a tent or, setting up a canopy, man, there's so much work, from bringing out ice chests and setting up the tent and setting up your, if you're Eric England, setting up your display with your helmets. All of those things take so much work. In the RV, you pull up, you hit a button, the jacks go down, you put a button, the awning goes out, your generator's on, your air's on, the game's on, and your food is in the fridge. And so you don't have to work as hard when you get out there. You're able to actually enjoy it.
Oh, no. You just scared the you-know-what out of me. We got Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. The jacks go down. Did I miss a step when I was taking out the RV over the summer?
Yeah, you just hit a button. There's jacks. They go down and level for you.
Oh, no. We slept on an angle the last night. Okay. That's me. That's on me. That's totally my fault. All right. Apologies to the wife and the kids.
We'll get you the next time.
Yeah, I'd say too. The thing of it is, Jeff, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, is once you get a taste of it, you notice it everywhere. It's really like it's like getting bit by the theater bug. It's like once you've seen it, you want more of it.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing when you talk about buying it, people that do buy it for 8 games a year, those are very few and far between.
Sure.
But the cool part I love about it is having an RV. And we're in a situation where, I've been in this industry for 30 years. I worked for my father-in-law for 17 years. We own the business now. And for a long time, I had the ability to actually use one of the used units on the lot or one of the rentals. So, I mean, it was a nice benefit. But it got to be the point where we actually bought one, even though I had the ability to use one for free. We paid our money to buy one individually for my wife and I so that we could leave it loaded and ready to go at a moment's notice. And we ended up, it opens up the ability for other things you use it for. So if we were going to a cheerleading competition in Homa, instead of taking the car, we would take the motorhome and we would drive down there. And a lot of times we would have some other families ride with us. So we would have, a group of people driving down. But then instead of having to just sit there and wait for 8 hours for the 30 minutes, for the 30 minutes, what am I saying? For the 2 minutes that my daughter was doing her cheer competition, I could spend a lot of time in the motorhome.
Yeah.
And it just made life really comfortable, really easy. We did it with my son at soccer tournaments, same thing. We were able to get out of heat and enjoy that. But we would also take it out to dinner because we'd get a group of friends, and instead of going to our favorite restaurant in Baton Rouge, we'd make a night of it, and we'd drive to to emails on the river. We drive out to Lafayette and go to Préjean's or go to one of the restaurants over there, and just make a road trip out of just a dinner night out. And so there's just, when you have the ability to use it at your own convenience, there's so many other things you start using it for.
We got 2 minutes left with Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. Those are all the positives, Jeff. I do have to ask you about, logistically speaking, there's not a campus you're going to go to in an RV that doesn't have parking regulations. How do y'all help? Are y'all able to help facilitate that on your end, or is that completely up to the renter?
We know some of the campground, the venues. We can kind of give you a little bit of information where it is. Others we're not as familiar. Some of them are really convenient and very easy. Like LSU, there's enough parking that most people can be able to get a spot who want a motorhome spot. Some of them you're further away and you're not as, it's not as good. So it is a venue by venue thing, and we're certainly willing to help get that ready. We definitely want to make sure, anytime if somebody has their own and they're going to tailgate for the first time, you do have to have the generator exhaust kit for the RVs to make sure when you're all packed in there together, to make sure your exhaust is not going into your neighbor's tailgate. So that's one thing you have to have if you're going to run your generator. So for those, and that's other venues as well. So if you are going to tailgate for the first time, make sure you have that. You don't want to get out there and not be able to run your generator.
Where can folks find you if they're interested?
We are Florida Boulevard, right between Sherwood Forest and Flannery, 12912. Or check us out at millersrv.com.
millersrv.com on the website, and right there on Florida Boulevard behind Sherwood Forest. He's Jeff Hilliard. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks. We got it was just a fun time over the summer, and I would imagine tailgating is a completely different experience as well. Here's news. Okay.
Oh, as far as that bumper, Cade can't find it. The one that had the 5-star for this day in history. It cannot be found.
That's impossible, but I'll deal with it after the show. I just sent you 7 cuts, and we're going to use all of them, and we're going to use them in order here.
Okay.
I labeled them to where they'll be in order.
All right.
And then the story we're supposed to use at 7:55, we'll use at 8:55.
Okay.
Do you have Ted James already downloaded or saved? Have you saved it out of?
I didn't. I can. I don't, but
Please.
It'll take 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What you want it?
Yes, I do. There's a line in there that I want. If it has to wait until the last segment, that's fine before we find it. But what I'm looking for is a line where he says "hostile is out of style." No, I want to use that quote today. Yeah. No, I don't need the whole thing yet. If you find just that one quote. Byron says apparently his father turned him in. Yeah, we're going to get into that right here. Kevin O'Neill, Trump just announced the shooter was in custody. No, I announced it. Ha ha. No, we're going to play back all the president's audio right here. See, that's how my friends and I have conversations. Yep, you are shutting down young people. Yep. You what? Yeah. .837. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We were scheduled to have our Foodie Friday segment here and had a little bit of a scheduling snafu. So we're going to postpone our Foodie Friday guest until next Friday. But it actually kind of works out because there's been breaking news throughout the show this morning. And I would be remiss if we didn't check in on the news. Actually, before we do that, though, JP, we got to go back to this day in history. This one's on me. I missed this one.
What do we have?
I missed this one. This day in 2005. Remember the old Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job from George W. Bush?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not long after George W. Bush said that, it was on this day in 2005 that Michael Brown resigned as director of FEMA for, quote, the best interest of the agency and the best interest of the president. So, Brownie, you're retiring.
Yeah.
Is what happened on this day in 2005. I dropped the ball on that one because I got the Louisiana site, so the New Orleans site actually. So that one's on me. We got breaking news in the show this morning. I want to make sure we are covering it right now, as we learned not long ago that there is a suspect in custody accused in connection to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. President Trump has already spoken on the topic. We have audio from the president. In fact, let's start with that right now. Cut one.
I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody.
Okay. With a high degree of certainty, that's a good thing. Let's follow up on that. And JP, you and I were talking about this earlier in the show. We want that microwave justice, right? We want that. We want the case wrapped up before the end of the hour. You fade to black, executive producer Dick Wolf, and then you've got the news coming up, right? Yep. Yeah, that's not how the world works. But a lot of folks moved very, very quickly following a ton of leads to make sure this happened. The president spoke about that concerted effort.
Local police, the governor, everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days.
You think about that. That's what they had to start with. And how time is of the essence. And in a situation like this, the one who's trying to escape has the benefit of time. They get the head start right there. If for no other reason, you got to start by locating where the shot came from. You know, if he can get off that roof, and a lot of us have seen the video of him running to the edge of the roof, jumping off, having the gun down his pants, so he was stiff-legged on one side before getting rid of the gun in the wooded area, and then from there disappearing like Kaiser Soze. So if you are law enforcement, you are, you're playing behind the 8 ball. That level of logistics, that level of following up on leads. And by the way, when we talk about leads, we're talking about thousands of leads, many of them not going to be credible. So sifting through, separating the wheat from the chaff, figuring out what's worth following and whatnot. It's just, it really is. We need to stop and say, this is amazing work. Now from here, we'll pivot over to prosecution. And the president is very clear in what he wants to see happen on that front.
I hope he's going to be found guilty, I would imagine. And I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
He didn't. And that brings us back around to Charlie Kirk, who the victim here. And he was the voice of someone who was not going to bend on what they believed in, but at the same time was never going to turn away someone else's voice. And recapping this yesterday, I said it a lot. Charlie Kirk had 2 microphones. He offered you one. No matter where you were on the political spectrum, no matter what you believed in, he would hear you and hear you out. It just really brings to light what a big loss this is, and how, if you look at the battle between both sides of the political war, and that's kind of where we're at. It is a political war within. Charlie Kirk was a reasonable one. I mean, what's left in his wake is going to be louder and more shouty. When someone would step to a microphone to give a different belief, to debate, to engage in civil political discourse, if, the red MAGA hat wearing crowd would boo, Charlie Kirk would be the first one to say, knock it off. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to step to a microphone and sound off on your own beliefs, especially in a quote-unquote hostile crowd. 3,000 people out there who probably agree with Charlie Kirk, another 200 or 300 who are looking for the microphone to debate with Charlie Kirk. That's not an easy thing to do, to grab a microphone and speak your beliefs in opposition to the thousands of people around you who disagree. I hope that part of the equation doesn't get lost, and that at the end of the day, Charlie Kirk was the one who was willing to listen. It's by the way, I believe the person turned themselves in, which was probably for the best. You better hope law enforcement gets a hold of you before a crazy mob does. and violence can often beget violence, and that's the last thing that Charlie Kirk would ever want. It's not to see throngs of people rehash what was. But here's the president again talking about exactly that.
You just have to go forward. You watch, as closely as you can. You have, I have great people. I mean, I have people now much better and far more. When I was hit in Butler.
We had the audio yesterday. Can you bump over to yesterday's folder and see if we saved Mike Schmitz? We had the audio yesterday. Catholic priest, Father Mike Schmitz, was on with Megyn Kelly. And you talk about, like, it's a good thing he turned himself into law enforcement before, a throng of people who go after him. You never want to see vigilante justice. Unfortunately, we won't have to see vigilante justice in this particular case. The actual justice system can handle this guy. But in the immediate aftermath, there was a lot of anger. In the immediate aftermath, there were a lot of people who just, and it's, part of it is how up close and personal the whole thing was. How we all witnessed it in real time, or as close to real time as possible, very, very graphically. And in fact, sound off, if you would, please, over on the Facebook Live chat, if you don't mind. Did you watch the video? The video of him being shot? And how many times did you see it? It's so... I never wanted to not be disturbing to watch someone die. That should always be disturbing. If we could become that numb to where you see that video happen and you just shrug it off and move on, to have it not haunt you, you want it to haunt you, because it is a disturbing thing. But that level of disruption, don't worry about it, JP. We'll just keep moving. That level of disruption leads to a lot of anger. And there should be anger that goes along with it. In the meanwhile, how did this guy get himself turned in, or how did he get turned in? The long and the short of it is, if I'm not mistaken, he confessed to his father, and his father either contacted authorities or talked him into turning himself in. The president talked about, do we have that one as well? Yeah.
The father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but I'm just giving you based on what I'm hearing.
So son confesses to father. Father gets it done. One of the, who was it over here in the chat? The glorified crew over at Facebook Live is asking great questions, as they are always are. Galen is actually the one that says it. Can you imagine, as a father, the realization that your son's an assassin? No, I can't. The want to protect at that point. Wow, how tremendous is this dad? I mean, the son goes down the wrong path completely, obviously. But the want to protect your own is very, very strong. And for this dad to have the want for justice to be served, to rule over that, to step above that, that's pretty darn amazing. The son's safety is part of that equation, though. Because if you're the dad, that's got to be part of the process, right? That's got to be part of the thought process. I can want to protect my son, but will the repercussions be worse if there is some level of vigilante justice out there? Versus, let's get him in the hands of law enforcement and go through the process. In the meanwhile, okay, you got it? What we had? Okay. So yesterday, as we were processing all this, I caught hold of some audio from the Megyn Kelly show. Father Mike Schmitz was on with her. And when you see this happen so graphically, so up close and personal, so close to real time, anger bubbles over. And while there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of anger as well. Father Mike Schmitz talked about that.
But anger is the proper response. I mean, to realize that this is, I mean, here, let's use Jesus as our example. There were times when Jesus saw injustice, where Jesus saw evil, and he didn't like, oh, okay, that's too bad. He was angered. I mean, there's times where people refuse to reach out or refuse to say it was good to reach out to help the helpless. And Jesus, it says very clearly in the scriptures, Jesus looked at them with anger. And there's a piece of that that's like, okay, if I can look at evil, and I can look at suffering, if I can look at death and senseless, tragic death, like 2 weeks ago, the shooting in Minneapolis, and now the shooting in Utah, to be able to look at that and not experience anger is to have our metric off. That's to have our barometer off. That the proper human response to evil is anger, because I would say God's response to evil is anger.
Amazing stuff. And it how you process that anger is where it all comes into question. You know, what are you doing to make sure that anger doesn't fester into something much, much worse? We got a break here. We get Your Money Now coming your way. We got traffic coming your way. We come back. We got like 3 more topics to cover here. The president caught some questions about a different topic while he was talking about Charlie Kirk's assassin and Charlie Kirk's assassination. We're going to visit some of that as well because it's going to hit home. Right now, though, let's get Your Money Now. Those last 2 are on the National Guard. That's why I saved them. Oh! Oh. Confessed to his father who contacted. Okay, so Troy says News Nation is reporting, and I trust News Nation, by the way. Confessed to his father who contacted authorities to arrange his surrender. Okay. He's headed to Salt Lake City. All right. Troy says, I think you just hit on a great litmus test. Are you a person who wants to exist with just one microphone or 2? It's a great question, man. It's such a good question. Charlie Kirk had 2 microphones, and he offered you 1. So you shot him. Anything you wanted to say to that man, you could have said. Anything you needed to hash out, you could have hashed out.
He would have heard you out.
I know.
He would have heard you out.
I know. And that's why this pisses me off so much. There are others who are more over the top in their conservatism. A lot of talk show hosts, a lot of podcasters who don't show up on college campuses to interact. And they're not going to be victims of assassination because they don't leave themselves susceptible to it. Like Charlie Kirk had that vulnerability of, I'm here in front of you. And there's the possibility that you're going to say something that changes my mind. It's not a big possibility, but it's out there. I'm bummed. I wanted Bullfish Grill this morning. She wasn't able to get everybody logistically to the kitchen and then over here, and I booked this on Wednesday at the Rotary Club meeting.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to contact her Wednesday, and I didn't contact her till yesterday, and she said we're good to go. And then she hit me up this morning. It was like, we're not gonna be able to have food, and I'm like, well, let's just postpone. So
it works out.
Yeah,
it works out.
I don't mind.
It's funny. I had lunch plans with my friend, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm good. But then I was thinking, like, I'm gonna be full anyway, or like I would have already eaten.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so where we going to eat? Because before I didn't care. Now I'm like, so where we going to eat? It's funny. But no, man, it's all good. Some little snafus.
We'll see if we can't get everything in this last segment.
It's not like we didn't have anything else to talk about.
Oh, well, no, it actually worked out.
Yeah.
I would have been very irresponsibly paying attention to Foodie Friday and not the breaking news.
It all works out, man.
Headline: Louisiana is moving up the economic rankings.
The what rankings?
Economic.
Okay. I got okay. Yeah, had news in my ear.
Good.
And then it's for Jonathan Williams, right?
Yeah. Son of a gun, I just got slapped with the tire. And there's no slowing down today. Gonna meet with a new social media guy. We got Medical Monday coming. I got a lunch planned. I got all the way up until the vigil tonight for Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Then I can go home, smash 2 tequilas, and fall asleep watching Ted Lasso with the wife. We're rewatching Ted Lasso.
Not a bad night.
Yeah. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. The president caught a couple of other. Oh, stop. Let's be responsible. Okay. It has been a busy show. It has been a jam-packed show. Want to thank, of course, Jacob Hester from 104.5 ESPN, Mr. Fourth Down versus Florida, for previewing the LSU-Florida matchup, really recapping the rivalry more than the matchup. Former State Representative Ted James was on with us, talking about cooling the political rhetoric a little bit. What was the he had a line in there, hostile is out of style? It needs to be. What can we do to make it that way? Jonathan Williams from the American Legislative Exchange Council was on. Mayor President Sid Edwards, Mason Batts from the mayor's office. They were in studio. Jeff Hilliard from Miller's RV. I mean, we were all over the map today. And, of course, covering the breaking news or the news that was breaking during the show in that they have the person in custody in connection with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We were running through the audio in our last segment of President Trump talking about it. President Trump caught a couple of other questions within that same press availability. Someone asked the president about President Trump says he's sending National Guard troops to Memphis and I guess not Chicago. They came on Fox News this morning as a federal court ruling declared his unilateral troop deployment to Los Angeles illegal. But Trump said the troops are being invited into Memphis. So
the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy, and the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington.
So that brings up the next question: is Louisiana going to get it back in the mix here? Because New Orleans has been mentioned before, and we know the governor's on board. And I don't know if the mayor of New Orleans even has time to respond. No, she's too busy being indicted. She's too busy pleading not guilty. But is New Orleans going to be back in the mix?
New Orleans is really in bad shape, and the governor wants us to go in. We'll do that, too.
All right. I mean, we know the governor wants in over there. So We've seen what happens when New Orleans gets extra love and extra attention. We've seen what happened with Troop Nola, for example, as to how they can show short-term results. Long-term results are a bigger problem. Long-term results are a bigger problem with a different solution. When they say you can't arrest your way out of it, well, I mean, the National Guard can't arrest anybody anyway. They don't have arresting powers. But more attention, more presence is always a good thing. Hey, don't forget tonight, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m., Ken Trahan's original prep football report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. Tuition Program right here on Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Man, busy show, y'all. Heavy week. I'm just glad the week's coming to an end and we get to take on Florida tomorrow, you know? We'll see y'all next week. Moon Griffon's coming up next right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, Facebook. For Facebook Live, I'll let you know that the segment that got bumped was that Amtrak train from New Orleans to Mobile. That's what we cut out in order to get to all the president's audio. I think we made the right call there. Guys, thank y'all so much. Tremendous conversation today. That was awesome stuff. Y'all have no idea. Like, it's, you know, JP and I are sitting here in studio and we know what our barometers are, but when we get to hear what you have to say, we saw 3 different occasions today where it opened up brand new questions and brand new, paths of the conversation. I know y'all are here for me every day, or here for us every day, but I didn't want today to go by without saying thank you, because like we can dick around all day long, we can make stupid sophomore jokes all day long, and that's fun, and I love that dearly. But contributions like yesterday and today, at such heavy times, with such heavy hearts and our minds wandering to places that probably our minds don't want to go to, y'all were friggin' awesome. So we'll see you Monday. Thank you so much.
Shout out to Byron also. Hug your loved ones and go Tigers. It's a good way to end.
Yep.